Hey Libra, this is your reading for February 2019. Thank you for joining. Please set aside anything that you're doing so you're not multitasking. And all of your presence is here with me for the reading. Focus on your breathing for a few moments and check in with your posture. Make sure you're comfortable and relaxed. With each exhalation, imagine any anxiety or tension that you may be feeling leaving your body. And use this moment now to check in with your higher self and your guides. Ask them to reach out to my higher self and my guides so that we can create a feedback loop of information to get relevant and clear messages that are especially tailored for you. Okay, let's have a look. The heart of the reading, you have the Three of Wands in the upright position, and that is crossed by the Page of Pentacles. So this says to me that right away I can see that you are at a point in your life this month where it appears that you need to and you want to take a moment to reflect on where you are right now and just kind of project a little bit ahead and see where it is that you want to go. Perhaps for this year or the next few years. You may be looking at more like kind of perusing the lay of the land to kind of see what is in your long-term future, and how is it that decisions that you're making right now can impact and affect that vision that you have, or that vision that you're cultivating right now. And the crossing card, being the Page of Pentacles in this upright position here, says to me that your obstacle or your challenge right now is to use patience, use like a practice of slow and steady kind of approach, is what's challenging you. And I feel that I'll get into the other cards in a second, but I feel that there's something here around impatience, that some of you are feeling impatient. Some of you might also be feeling a little bit, I'm hearing lackluster. I feel like your motivation and your energy is a little bit diminished, in the sense that you might just be feeling exhausted. You might just be feeling so emotionally and physically exhausted from feeling kind of like, I'm hearing pent up. It's like there's a lot of energy that you have that you want to channel into things that are meaningful and important to you, but somehow there's this feeling of you being stuck in dynamics with people and with situations, and maybe even your own self. I think some of you may be starting to become aware of how much you are kind of a victim of your own thoughts and your own habits and your own patterns. And I think that's what this Devil here, the Devil card at the foundation of the reading, this card, it represents what's in your unconscious mind. So this is what you don't know. So I feel that for some of you, you may not be aware of just how much you are kind of trapped by your own thoughts and your own ideas. That's what this crowning card is saying, actually. The Eight of Swords upright in the position of the crowning card here is kind of indicating that you know that you feel bound and restricted. You know that the position that you're in right now feels limiting, and it feels a bit like you can sense, you feel the resistance, like you're aware of your own resistance. But I think what you're not aware of is that you have put these binds there, and that the Devil card in the unconscious mind is also reflecting that feeling of like you being unaware of your attachments, of your own bindings, of your own self-imposed limitations and your own self-imposed mental projections. It's like you're not as aware as you need to be about your own mind and how your thoughts and ideas are actually what is being lived out by you. Like, I think you're not aware right now of just how much you are your own worst enemy, in a way, I feel. I'm sorry if that's too blunt. I'm not sure what other words to use for that. But there is this feeling here of you kind of being bound up. Look, you've got both of these swords cards with the blindfold on. The Two of Swords here is in this. Sorry, the Two of Swords is in this position here of the outcome. And seeing both of these swords cards with this blindfold image says to me that there is a lack of willingness to be aware of your own power. You're not willing to take power in the situation, I feel. There's this element here of like being too passive. That's what I see with this, the Page of Pentacles as the crossing card. It's like you're not willing to find the willpower that you need to kind of cultivate and plant the seeds that you need for like this long-term vision that you're designing right now. And the obstacle being this Page of Pentacles says that you're not willing to find and cultivate the enthusiasm to undertake the endeavor because you're still kind of victim of your own thoughts and ideas that are keeping you stuck and inhibited. So what else is here? You have the Ace of Pentacles upright with the Eight of Cups. This is saying to me that you do have like this energy of like kind of the desire for, the potential for a new beginning in the physical world. That you have these seeds and you are holding seeds in your hand. You are having this kind of like fresh ideas kind of uprising in you that are kind of in a sense kind of giving you a drive towards initiating a new beginning. And this Eight of Cups here confirms that there's this energy that you have, that there is a desire there to walk away from the current situation that you're in. But these two cards here I feel are just describing the potential of where you are right now. Other cards here are kind of describing that you are actually sort of staying where you are. We'll get to that though. We'll come around. So here in this quadrant you have the King of Pentacles upright with the Queen of Cups in reverse. This feels like it's describing people. If you're in a relationship, I feel that this is describing, you know, how perhaps how you feel about your partner. Perhaps on one hand you see all the kind of good qualities that they have that are very appealing and attractive about them, being that they may be very grounded, they may be very there's an element of success within them. There's an element of abundance, and you can see that they have a kind of self-worth that you appreciate. There's something there about like you seeing how much they have self-love and self-value that you kind of appreciate. But you also see that there is some flaws there with the emotional maturity is maybe a little bit lacking for you, and that feels a little bit frustrating here given the other cards. This also can go vice versa, of course. This could be describing you as well. If you're not in a relationship, and this energy here is describing your own kind of dichotomy within you, where it is that you have that kind of, there is like a yearning towards a persevering sense of knowing that you need to be grounded in a sense of self-worth and value that will then allow you to kind of proceed forward in ways that let you experience life in the way that you know that you can, with things coming towards you, with being able to manifest freely and easily and effortlessly. But it does say here then with the Queen of Cups in reverse that there is sort of still some emotional development that needs to be, there needs to be like some drive towards addressing some issues where you do feel some sort of levels of deficiencies in some ways in your emotional state, in a sense of like your capacity to be able to manifest and move through the world in a way that is a bit more heightened. I think that there are some it's that weird thing, you know, when you know what you want, maybe you don't feel happy where you are right now, and you want to change that, and you want to kind of move in a way that's changing the direction of being able to manifest the things that you want. But because you're not feeling happy and bright and hopeful, those things are not coming towards you. And it's almost like you feel like when you get the things that you want, then you'll be happy. But actually it works the other way, in that when you start to embody a more contented, happy, bright, positive outlook, then those things come easily towards you. That's the power of manifestation, right? I know that sounds annoying to hear, like when you're not feeling good and you're not feeling happy, and someone tells you just be happy and you'll have what you want. I understand that what I'm saying is super annoying, but it kind of is the way it is. I'm sure I could find a much more diplomatic and gentle way to say that, but if you've been on my channel before, you know that I'm quite direct with my language. So I feel like I've covered those two cards now. So in the position of hopes and fears, you have the Hermit in reverse and the Four of Pentacles. This clearly says to me what I described earlier with this quadrant here, where I was saying, you know, you have the seeds, you have the ideas of the energy that you want to plant, like the ideas you want to plant in order to create the things that you want, and there's an energy there of you kind of with that Eight of Cups there, sort of wanting to move forward and transition, walk away from where it is that you are right now in order to go towards this new direction, this new beginning that you see. But these cards in this quadrant are kind of saying that you are going to stay where you are, because you have the Hermit in reverse and the Four of Pentacles here. And that says to me that you're kind of holding on. There's a kind of energy of clutching onto what's familiar and what you know, for fear of failure, fear of success. I think there is some element here with having these four Pentacle cards in the reading. I feel that money is definitely an issue here for you. I think that there's a fear of moving forward towards your visions and aspirations because of maybe a lack of funds, of being able to move with that kind of the luxury of that kind of freedom of being able to step into the unknown without any kind of safety net beneath you. And again, I'm going to say something super cliche here, but it does seem to make sense right now to say that, like, in order to like actually fulfill your I don't want to say destiny because I can't stand that word. In order to fulfill your path, like to really move forward in a way that feels like you're actually in alignment with what you know you need to do, you do have to step away from that comfort zone and take a risk here in order to move towards things that will be more in alignment with who you are, and that will actually bring you that feeling of joy that may be lacking for you right now. Now, in the position of the outcome, you have the Five of Swords in reverse with Justice, which is your card, Justice from the Major Arcana. What I see here is that, and given that you have this other Swords card, see, there's these three Swords cards here, and the Justice also has a sword in it, so it is kind of like all tied together here. These four cards here, which I kind of look at as together as sort of the outcome or the potential of you, given the energy that you're sustaining right now. Like, this is just a snapshot of what you are thinking and feeling right now. And given the state of being that you are in right now, it does say that I think you're aware, you have this awareness that there is things that you need to change about the way you are viewing your position and your situation. There's a need for unbinding the self and revealing the truth, like removing yourself from what you know to be real and true by simply just dropping the story of whatever it is that's keeping you held in this condition. And this Five of Swords in reverse is saying to me that there is, like, I think within you there's like a lot of inner dialogue that needs to be harmonized. I'm hearing like the inner conflict is making you confused. And so the point here of the guidance that I'm being asked to share with you is that in order to make a breakthrough with the situation that you're in, to kind of feel like you actually are getting some resolve and feeling like an ability to move forward, is that you need to address the inner dialogue and start to be more disciplined and be more aware and notice the things that you're saying to yourself and the way you're speaking to yourself, and then you will start to make progress. This need to harmonize and balance the mind and come into a space of like what's right and what's fair and what's just for you, and to come from like a space of clarity and like a neutral, non-judgmental space. It's about opening the heart. Look at the in this graphic here of this, the image on this card. The character here is wearing this cape and it's kind of pinned together at the front with this icon here. And now this clearly says to me that this is about unifying the heart and the mind and coming into a clear space of mind and like overcoming the second guessing and the self-doubt and the worry and the anxiety, and putting down this need to kind of like always override your initial impulses with doubt and fear. And remove these binds, remove the blindfolds. See with clarity the situation that you're in right now. Understand that you are creating everything and that it's up to you to actually overcome this binding, lack of clarity. It's all up to you. Nobody can help you here. I'm sorry. Nobody can help you. You have to do this alone. You have to free yourself from your own self-imposed prison. You have to gain clarity and gain a sense of, build a sense of optimism and confidence and positivity within you in order to make decisions to move towards this vision that you have of the battery run out there. So what I was saying is that this is about having this moment to commit to the discipline that it will take to actually change your life in the way that you want it to change. And that means seeing the long-term vision and understanding that what it takes is like small changes every day that you commit to, that you build upon, you know. It may not happen overnight, and I think for a lot of you there may be this feeling of like the task is so big that you continue to stay where you are because it feels so overwhelming. But the important thing to remember is that, you know, it's up to you to make small changes every day to work towards the goal that you want in order to have the successful feeling that you want, of this kind of sense of well-being that you know is yours to have, right? So, you know, like 2 years can go by really quickly if you don't do anything different. You'll be in the exactly same position that you are in right now. But if you commit and you make small changes every day and you keep building upon them, within 6 months to a year, you can have the income that you want. You can be living in the country that you want, doing the work that you want. You can have the lifestyle that you want. It's all waiting for you. You just have to commit, dedicate, put small changes into practice every day and keep building upon them. Let's have a look at the bottom of the deck. Six of Pentacles in reverse, Queen of Swords in reverse, Strength in reverse, and Four of Wands in reverse. There's also the Five of Pentacles here in reverse. I'm going to take that. So what I feel is here is that it is kind of like driving home the same points here that we've been talking about here, but it's kind of filling in some of the detail here where it's saying that probably for many of you, you're either unhappy in your job or unhappy in your relationship or in your home life. You are not feeling necessarily empowered in your work or in your relationship, either way. I feel there's also here with this Queen of Swords in reverse, there's another sword card coming out now. I feel that for many of you, there is a lot of holding back with communication. I feel that many of you have things that you want to say, but you don't have either the, I'm hearing finesse. You don't have the finesse of you know, how to, I think you're holding back again. There's a lot of holding back energy here for you guys. There's a lot of holding back energy. And I feel with this Queen of Swords in reverse here, it's like you're holding back on saying what you want to say because either you're afraid of how it will be received. You're not sure necessarily exactly. Maybe there's still a lot of like swirling feelings here that you haven't actually been able to like articulate even in with your internal dialogue of what these things are that you want to express to someone, whether it's a boss or a partner. So there's a lot of holding back. There's a lot of resistance. I feel like this is also, this Queen of Swords in reverse is also describing how perhaps you are still not in this place yet where you are being honest with yourself and you haven't revealed the truth to yourself and you're too, there's this, again, feeling of holding back, but it's more like you are comfortable in the discomfort is what I get. Comfortable in the discomfort, in that it's familiar territory, you know exactly where you are, even if you don't like it, you know that the dynamics that you're in with people are not suiting you very well, they're not comfortable, you're not feeling happy, you're not feeling heard, you're not feeling powerful or empowered, you're not feeling creative necessarily, but you stay there because you maybe haven't developed enough confidence and positivity and hopefulness to see that your visions and your own personal, you know, will and desires for what it is that you want for yourself is valid, and you putting energy into other people's dreams and aspirations and visions is not making you feel happy. You think it is. You think that by pleasing other people it's going to make you feel happy. You think that by, like, you know, living, it's almost like what this feels like to me is that some of you have kind of latched onto someone else's dream and you're helping them execute and create this dream, but you don't, it's not for you, but you think it should be for you because it looks good on paper, but it's making you kind of really exhausted and miserable. and disconnected. There's a feeling of disconnection here. This overwhelming feeling of you kind of holding back on what you want for yourself and holding back on your personal aspiration to stay in this situation that you're in is making me feel really unwell. So again, I'll come back to these outcome cards here what I spoke about earlier with regards to, I think as a practical kind of first step to kind of start to resolve some of this. The key part is to start to address the inner dialogue and start to become aware and notice. Because I think a lot of you may not be even aware of how much your mind is running away from you with all this kind of second guessing and doubt and insecurity and fear and worry and anxiety. And it's really, you're attacking your own self-confidence by letting this inner voice run away with all these concepts and ideas that are just like chipping away at your strength. And it is a climb. It's definitely a climb to self-confidence. But you've got to commit, again, you've got to commit to these small steps every day of actually changing your life by making these, implementing small disciplines and building upon them in order to see growth and change over time. It doesn't happen overnight. I feel that's it for the general reading. Libra, I'm going to take the Voyager deck now and shuffle again to give you a higher octave spread. So take a couple of deep, slow breaths here, and while I shuffle, blast your energy into the deck so I can get clear messages for you. The higher octave reading is going to give us more insight onto what's happening on a karmic and spiritual level. It will help us understand a little bit more of what's actually available to us energetically, what opportunities are available to us, and hopefully provide clear and practical guidance to help us know how to best work with these energies to make the most out of the opportunities that we're facing. Three of Cups reversed, crossed by Sage of Wands. 10 of Crystals. 8 of Worlds reversed. The Devil again. 4 of Wands again. 5 of Wands. 6 of Cups reversed. The Universe reversed. Logic, 4 of Crystals reversed. 10 of Worlds reversed. Child of Cups reversed. Ace of Cups reversed. And 8 of Wands reversed. So, as you can see, many reversals here. That doesn't necessarily mean a negative reading. There's the Death card there. I'm going to take that. It's also in reverse. Again, what I feel here very strongly with this spread is that there is a lot of resistance. You are fighting yourself. Why, Libra? Why? There is a huge need here for a massive change and a transformation within you. There's a need to alchemize. I feel there's a huge need to alchemize your past and kind of find a way to resolve all of your experiences from now and give yourself a clean slate to start with to build on. And there isn't some complicated thing that you have to do in order to get there. It's just a decision. You just have to decide that you're going to leave the past behind. Meaning, it doesn't necessarily mean you kind of abandon everything you know and walk away. It's a mental thing, right? It's about changing the way you look at yourself, changing the way you look at your past and your history and all of the things that you've done before to bring you to this point, and just simply make a decision to do things differently so that you can have an outcome that's much more satisfying, really. Because you have there the 10 of Worlds in reverse, so that's kind of saying to me that like there is this kind of I'm hearing insecurity, lack, and some of it is a kind of stubbornness here where it's like you don't actually want to admit that you have been your own worst enemy. Again, I apologize for the bluntness with which I'm describing this energy here, but where do I start? 3 of Cups at the center of the reading in reverse, crossed by the Sage of Wands. 8 of Worlds in reverse and 10 of Crystals upright. I feel like the central axis here is describing, again, basically what I just said, that you have a strong resistance to change, that I feel like you keep putting things in front of you to create more blockages. It's like you try to remedy something with another solution that's actually just another blockage or another inhibition or resistance, or there's this whole, I'm seeing this image of like Lego, and I'm seeing this, I'm getting the like the takeaway from that visual is that you're building this, I'm hearing reparations. It's like you're trying to repair something. You're trying to repair something, whether it's a problem or an injury or a damage, with something that is unstable and not real. It's not real. Lego is plastic, right? You're like, it's like you're trying to build a castle with plastic toy stuff. So yeah, the feeling here is that there is an urgent need to kind of overcome and resolve and restore a sense of realness and reality to your situation by addressing and acknowledging the places in the mind where you have been like inaccurately feeding your consciousness with information that's not real. 10 of Crystals here, crowning the reading. This card is called Delusion. So that's the crowning energy of this reading. This card is describing like kind of what's capping everything here, and that is this like 10 of Crystals delusion. It's clear to me. It's like your mind, you need a makeover in the mind. You need a new perspective. You need a clean slate. You need to reformat. There's a feeling here of like, again, an urgent need to change, an urgent need to kind of free yourself from your own oppression, from your own limitation and restriction, and need to come more into harmony and balance with. It's like if you study Taoism, for example, it's like everything that I'm seeing here being described with all these cards is like you're in every possible way you're going against the Tao. You're going against the flow. So a need to resolve like whatever it is that I think fundamentally, I mean, really what's important here, that fundamentally is to address the places where you feel your insecurities. Because that's what I felt like those cards there were at the end of the reading, that 5 of Swords reverse and the Justice. It's like your inner dialogue is kind of compounding and affirming negative beliefs and insecurities by just kind of repeating the same things over and over to yourself. So I feel like that's the main takeaway from this. If I could offer some kind of practical guidance here, is that you really need to start to pay a lot more close attention to what you're telling yourself, because that's the core of for everyone, not just for you in this reading, but that's the core of turning things around and having a kind of successful journey here as a human, is to understand how much power we have with our mind, and what the dialogue that we use internally is really the magic that we use to kind of create and manifest with. So that's very important here, to overcome delusion, to extract and remove thought forms and ideas that you're affirming to yourself that are actually attacking your own self-confidence and your own self-esteem. And here it's interesting, you've got 2 4s here in this reading, 4 of Wands and 4 of Crystals, and you have 2 8s here as well. So 8 of Crystals, 8 of Wands and 8 of Worlds, and they're reversed. So it's the feeling for me, and you had the 4 there as well before in the previous reading. The feeling here with these cards though is that there is a need to change, a need to like overcome that. As I was saying, like the feeling of these 8s in reverse, and basically the whole reading is, as I was saying, it's like you're going against the Tao in every way possible. You're going against the flow. You keep putting things in front of you that create more blockages and more resistance and more hindrances and more how do I describe that? It's like you're trying to remedy something with a poison. So the more you try to kind of patchwork this thing with like things that are not actually really in alignment, it's just taking more time to unravel it all, right? So strive to work with, as I said, your mind and the inner dialogue. Start to work with building up your self-esteem and your confidence again. Unconditional love is a key element here. You have here the 6 of Cups in reverse with the 8 of Cups in reverse. So these are also both saying to me that there is perhaps some, again, like a need to focus on self-love so that you can work with, building your confidence and your self-esteem again. And sorrow here, I feel like it's just a sadness that maybe that some of you might be feeling, that needs to be shed. I think some of you might have been in that space for some time, and the feeling is that like you have to fight for your own well-being by overcoming this sorrow that you're feeling, and find ways to feel more confident, to feel more passion for life, and just start to stoke the fire within you to kind of move your life in a direction that you want it to go in. And not just kind of either not settle for where you are, and also not continue to compound the difficulty that you're feeling by making decisions that are actually in the way of that, blocking things from actually what you want, by patchworking these kind of solutions that are actually just more hindrances. I hope this is making sense. What else is here? So yeah, as I said, you have the Devil card. So this Devil card, as you had in the previous reading at the foundation, in this spread, it's in the position of the recent past. So it's like what you're coming into this reading with. So I do feel that there is something there around, your attachments and your personal limitations. But there's also guidance here about using, because this card is ruled by Saturn. The planet that governs the energy of the devil is Saturn. So it's not always a negative reading. The message of the card and of Saturn is about discipline and about consistent practice, and approaching difficult tasks with a sense of commitment and passion and patience towards it, to actually to know that you can achieve what you want, but it will require your dedication and your hard work. And then here you have this, in this position, there's this card called Aspiration, which is the Four of Wands. I did speak about it earlier, but I do feel like this central axis through the reading here is actually very positive, uplifting feeling of like you finding the discipline and the dedication to work towards the goals and aspirations that you have, in order to reestablish yourself as an entity that has, a grounded, stable foundation, that is embodying a sense of love and passion, and is working towards like feeding and nurturing your soul in order for you to express yourself in ways that are really much needed by us. Here in this quadrant, I didn't speak about this yet, but you have the Universe and the Child of Cups, both in reverse. Universe is the Voyager Deck's version of the World card from the Rider Waite. Seeing these both in reverse here, it does feel like there is this element here of you. It's not. I think you think that you have to stay where you are because the cycle's not complete, but that's an immature approach to the situation, and it's also part of this whole like you are letting your mind tell you things that are actually keeping you in a place where you are limited and restricted. So this feeling of like you needing to kind of work something out with someone or play out some karma, it's just a story you're telling, and it's not really real. You have the ability at any moment to step out of a situation that's making you feel unhappy in order to work towards your own goals and dreams and visions that you have for your life. And there's no reason to feel like you have to stay somewhere that's unhappy because you feel like you have some karma with someone. No. And here in the position of the outcome, you have, as I said, the Four of Crystals in reverse with the Ten of Worlds in reverse. I feel like this is speaking to needing to break out of some kind of like hypnotic state that you're in, Logic in reverse here is kind of feeling like there is this need to kind of, it's like all the swords energy. The crystals are the swords element in this deck. And I do feel like there is this element of you needing to wake up out of a kind of like automated hypnotic state that you've been in, where you're just letting your mind run away and control you. This is about taking back the mind and restoring a sense of practical, intuitive, self-guidance that is working really hard to overcome that like dialogue that's kind of constantly second guessing. And it's about overcoming that, releasing the delusions, extracting and dissolving and like letting go of old ideas and thought forms that are limiting and restricting and causing you to feel resistance. It's keeping you from the things that you actually want for yourself. And any kind of feeling of like obligation, that's what some of this devil energy here is. I feel there's this sense of feeling like you have obligations to other people. And I want to impress upon you the sense that that's not true. It's not true. Your only obligation is to yourself and your path, your happiness. It doesn't mean you abandon people, but it is about recalibrating your sense of like responsibility and what people can get from you or should get from you, you know. Battery's running low, so I'm going to wrap this up. Bottom of the deck, Child of Worlds reverse, Priestess reverse, Sage of Cups reverse, and Woman of Cups upright. I feel here again that there's this sense of like needing to be really honest with yourself. Priestess in reverse is saying that I feel like I think you have a lot of magic in you that you're unexpressing, or you're subduing, or you're suppressing, out of a need to feel like you are in something that is committed or makes sense, again, as I said, makes sense on paper, but it's actually really unsatisfying to you. There's a need to find more joy in like giving yourself the ability to have more fun in life. This Child of Worlds here in the reverse is called Player in this deck. So I feel like for some of you, you may not be having as much fun as you should. So that's something to address. Bring some joy and fun back into your life. Sage of Cups reverse with the Woman of Cups reverse. I feel like these two cards here can be also a reference to these two people here that I described earlier. If you're in a relationship, there is this sense of like, you know, what you see in your partner and what you feel, what you see in yourself, or what you think you're obliged to, or whatever. You also had here, I didn't really speak on this, but you have the Sage of Wands here at the heart of the reading in reverse as a crossing card. So there's these two sage energies here. The sage archetype is the kind of epitome of the element of that they represent. This is describing someone who's mastered those energies. So seeing these both here in reverse, this is saying to me that there is and seeing this as your crossing card here, this says to me that your obstacle, rather your challenge or your lesson here, is to really rise up in passion and fire. Like your fire feels a little bit damp at the moment. There's like a subdued energy that I feel from you guys at the moment. So this is a need to here stoke the fire, find a drive within, like find your passion, find your willpower and your enthusiasm to rise up out of the difficult situation and find a sense of courage and enthusiasm and drive to actually make the changes that you know you need to make. And Sage of Cups in reverse, he says that and I feel like this is connected to death here as well. There's this feeling of needing to really make some changes, make some seriously well-needed overdue changes in order to kind of come to a sense of regeneration and overcoming obstacles, overcoming challenges and difficulties, and knowing that you have the emotional fortitude and the passion and the drive and the willpower to actually execute this shift that you need to make in order to come to this emotional well-being that is much needed and very much yours for the taking, but up to you to kind of make the decisions and make the first steps towards actually achieving what it is that you want for your life. Okay, Libra, I feel that that's it for your reading today for February. Thanks for watching. Thank you for your subscription. It means a lot to have you here. I really am so honored and such a pleasure to read for you. Thanks for your time. Do subscribe if you haven't already, and also hit the notification bell button so that you can get notified when new readings go up online. And we'll see you in next month's reading.